All right, today in Georgia, there's going to be plenty of excitement. It started out with this morning at 10 o'clock having a Senate Oversight Committee hearing, and outside the Congress, of course, was a huge Trump rally going on. And so they was bringing some excitement to the place, which is a good thing because this meeting apparently was just the warm-up band for the rock band that's happening at 1 o'clock. And everything good about this meeting could be summed up in about 10 minutes, and so that's what I'm going to do for you. Now, mostly this meeting started out with about 30 minutes of the Secretary of State's flunky patting himself on the back and saying what a great job they did in the election, and basically it was just wonderful, and it was kind of nauseating. This guy from the Secretary of State's office, Ryan Germany was his name, he could barely put together 2 sentences. It was horrible to have to listen to the guy. Interestingly, the main people from Fulton County didn't show up, and the whole point of having an oversight meeting would be, I think, to talk about the most corrupt county, but that didn't really happen as they sent a couple of underlings there instead who really didn't know much, but just kind of patted themselves on the back also. So the question in my mind was, why was this meeting conducted? It didn't seem to do anything but pose questions to which they offered no answers. And in my thoughts, they see that the natives are restless and they're trying to just kind of cover themselves. They're trying to do something to pacify the general public. But unfortunately, I don't think they're fooling anybody with this meeting. Now, I guess Giuliani and Jenna Ellis is going to be at the next meeting, which will be more exciting. But this one, there was some good things about it. And so we're going to go ahead and go into the highlights.
Totally lost confidence in our system, in our election system this year. Maybe that's not a fair statement, and I'm not directing that to you or to the Secretary.
That's how they feel.
That's how they feel. We've got to establish trust in our system immediately. What can we do to reassure the citizens of Georgia that this next election is going to be a fair election? Not that the other one wasn't, but a lot of people feel that it's not fair and that there was fraud. And you've already indicated there's multiple cases of fraud being investigated. How do we know there's not more? How do we know there's not widespread fraud out there? Have you initiated any kind of forensic audits on the machines? I've heard a lot of comments about the Dominion machines. What kind of external or internal forensic auditing can be done or should be done? Should we bring in the GBI? Should we bring in a third-party computer scientist to look at the software programming of these machines? I'm hearing a lot of things out there, and I don't know, honestly, I can't tell you what's true and what's not true about it. I'm very concerned about what I'm seeing in Georgia. I've never seen this before. I'm 53.
So clearly the people of Georgia have lost confidence in this election. And especially from this congressman's point of view, a lot of people have the fears of the fraud and the mess, and what are they going to do to fix it? And apparently they've had opportunities in the past to fix it and just haven't done so. And so that's not too good. Our next contestant would submit that they bought the wrong machines. They should have got something other than Dominion. She said that they had cheaper options and more secure options that they passed up on in favor of the Dominion machines. It makes you wonder exactly why would they do that.
In whatever year it was, 2019, I think, that we should purchase a less expensive, more secure system in line with what the computer science experts and others were telling us. And that was not agreed. So it's very interesting sitting here now, all these attacks on Dominion. I still believe we could have gotten a less expensive, more secure system, and to the extent that anyone wants to discuss that in the majority party, I would be happy to do so.
GoPro stock. All right, so she definitely believes they got the wrong machines and that they should have done something differently. But, you know, what is done, and now they've got to deal with what they have. So our next senator is going to ask about 20,000 ballots being sent to people out of state, and he posed, how many others are there in the state? Of course, it was the 3 most corrupt counties that he brought up with the 20,000 votes, so who knows? Maybe it wasn't a whole lot more, maybe it was. But at any rate, it does make you wonder. And Georgia is doing a lot to get the out-of-state vote in there, just so long as it's for the blue team.
The three counties who were supposed to be here today, Fulton, Muskogee, and DeKalb, we had about 20,000 ballots from those three counties alone sent out of state. Do you know how many ballots, absentee ballots for the entire state, were mailed to addresses outside of the state of Georgia?
So our next senator poses the question, how can we certify this election? And his assertion is that 1/4 of the absentee ballots did not even have their signatures checked by anybody that should be checking signatures. In fact, he's submitting that in his mind, apparently 1/4 of these ballots wouldn't even be valid. And so let's hear what he has to say.
Business documents that you sign most of the time have to be notarized or witnessed. How can we certify this election this week knowing that 1/4 of the ballots haven't been verified by professionals or even audited? You said earlier, I believe to Senator Dolezal, none of your people have done any checks on those signature verifications. How do we certify this election this week?
Okay, at this point in the meeting, it went back to being a big love fest, and this time it's the Fulton County flunkies that are patting themselves on the back. These people aren't really very high up in the food chain, but I guess they showed up so that the ones that are actually accountable wouldn't have to answer any hard questions.
And anybody else. We just want to get it right. And I think, by the way, I would give ourselves, Fulton County, an A+ for the work that we did with respect to the November 3rd election.
And I think the fact that really, with respect to Fulton County, how it has gone, I mean, the November election, I don't think could not have gone better in terms of the way it was managed. And so
you would think after all this fantasticness in Fulton County that it would just be smooth sailing and they would have just certified that vote with no problem, right? Nope, not quite so. Looks like the Republicans had a different thing in mind. Let's take a look.
It's my understanding that the Republican members of the Fulton County Board of Election would not vote to certify the Fulton County election. So really two questions around that. I asked the Secretary of Staff if they knew why, and they did not know why. It's my understanding that the reason why is that you all did not use electronic signature tools that were at your disposal that maybe had been used in the past. So I'm curious if y'all could shine any light on why they may have not voted for that certification.
Okay, so after this meeting, there's as many questions as there was answers. In fact, nothing really was answered. It just, they put out all of the same questions that we in the general public have been putting out and the good people of Georgia have been putting out. And nothing really happened in this meeting that amounted to much. There were a few Republican senators that stood up and asked a few hard questions. Unfortunately, that representative from the Secretary of State's office was absolutely hopeless. I mean, he just had no answers for anything, other than to say, you know, what a great job they did, and he just don't understand why after every election, you know, somebody's mad at him, be it the Democrats or the Republicans. And I don't feel sorry for them because they seem to not be doing much right. All right, so that's my report on the first meeting, and I'll be doing one on the second, which I can almost guarantee is going to be much better. With Trump's team there, they bring the fun. And this meeting this morning was anything but. I watched it so you didn't have to, so I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you in a while.